that we use certain language, we use certain phrases, and I'll ask you some questions later on, not for an exam, but for that it's not just me speaking as we are doing this today. So you'll get a chance to share and to ask questions and to participate in a moment. But one of the terms we use is this term of a transformational coach. And it's actually a term that stands opposite to the concept of a transactional coach. So what is a transaction? I have $1, I go into the store, I give them the $1, they give me the bottle of water. Now, it may be $10 or it may be 50 cents. I don't know how much water costs in America, but I'm using the dollar because I think everyone understands it. If I say rand, you would not understand what I'm using. So that's a South African currency, but that's a transaction. I give you the $1, you give me the water. Now, we coach a lot like that because we live life a lot like that. We love a lot like that. So my wife, if you give me what I want, then I will give you what you need. Now, is that really love, or is it more like a transaction? Well, it is a transaction. My child, if you bring home good report from school, then you will get the word that says, well done, my son, my daughter, daddy is proud of you. That's not love, that's a transaction. And so a lot of times as coaches as well, what we're busy with is we're busy with transactional coaching, meaning that I only appreciate the player because they do something for me. Or I'm only coaching the player because I can get something out of it. And so the player only hears good words from me, for instance, when the player has scored a goal or made a good pass. That's not love. That's not the love that we know from the Bible. And that's also not what leads to transformation. So I want to start us off today with this idea that transformed people transform people. It's actually a deep thing if you think about it. It's changed people that change people. So luckily, all of us here are people that are changed, are transforming, not just transformed. We are never transformed, meaning it's final, it's over, we are perfect. We're never that. We're always transforming, becoming more and more like Jesus as a believer. But this is important for us because another phrase that we use, and sorry I didn't put it up here, but another phrase that we use in the training is the phrase that as coaches, we need to learn to do the work before the work. Doing the work before the work. So what is the work? Well, my work is, in our context, what we're talking about now is coaching. But tonight when I get home, my work may be parenting. Or tonight when I get home, my work may be marriage, dealing with my wife, my husband. So I have a work, but I have to do work before the work. So, and this is what this word talks about. And that's what we thought of as a good starting point for our African Coaches Fellowship for today. Is the first thing we want to drop is, do I remember, do I realize that it's transformed people. Sorry, my screen is not, there we go. Transformed people change history. And so that the coach is actually an agent of transformation, or a coach is an agent of change. Meaning that I have an opportunity as a coach to play a role, to be an agent to help someone else change, to be an agent to help someone else transform. And this agent of change and agent of transformation is not necessarily towards good. When we talk of we do the training, we say that the biggest takeaway of when we do the training, the first one of the first session of what is a coach, we come away with saying a coach is an influencer. Now that's true. You're an agent of transformation. You're an influencer. You're an agent of change. We're not saying what change, because we all have experiences of coaches influencing us towards very bad things or towards very good things. A lot of us have experience of the coach being the one that introduces us to smoking, the coach being the one that introduces us to alcohol, the coach being the one that introduces us to bad behavior, bad language, because that's how it happens. When you spend time with somebody, who they are rub off on you. You know, if you look at my hand here, when I'm spending time with somebody, who they are rub off on me. So one of the people on this call is Coach Mishak, who's one of my close friends. When I spend a lot of time with him, he rubs off on me. I start talking like him. I start dancing like him. I start laughing like him. I start thinking like him, because that's how life happens. Now the question is that change for the better, or is that change towards the negative? But as a coach, one of the greatest opportunities that we have is we have the massive opportunity of spending time with players where they want to be. Multiple contact time per week for multiple hours per week. That's a massive opportunity to influence. And so, key question then is, what does this transformational coach look like? What does it mean to be a transformational coach? So I'm going to show you a picture, and I want you to tell me, what do you see, and what do you understand, and what do you read from that? So as you look at that, you're welcome to unmute. You're welcome to unmute, and you're welcome to chat. What do you understand when you read that? And don't joke about my bald head that has no hair. That's not allowed. Anybody?
Casa.
See somebody put in the chat humbleness. What do you understand when you read that?
I think if I read this, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. I think if I can read this, that a good coach can change a game. So a good coach can change a game with soccer or with basketball, or with every game what they play. So a good coach can be a champion, but a great coach is a whole life changer. So he is not only coach through sports, but also in their whole life, of the whole of the boys, but also in their families and their neighborhood, so that they have a change in their life. So I think it's a greater picture, the last one. So yeah, that's what I see.
Thank you, Michal. Anybody else? You're welcome to. What do you understand when you when you read this sentence?
For me, thank you, Raphael from Kenya.
Hi, Raphael.
For me, thank you so much, Ben. For me, when I read this, a good coach can change a game, and a great coach can change a life. I think the part for the change a life is it combines both the game, because if you can change a life, that means that you can change the game. And like the first one where a coach can change a game, just a game, but life, no. It's all about like win the game, that's it. What you're going to do after that, celebrate how you celebrate, doesn't care about that. But life is both the game and the life. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Raphael. So if you had to make a decision, who do you want to be?
Hello?
Yes,
Can you hear me?
we hear you.
So from what I read from the statement, a good coach can change a game, a good coach can change life. What it simply means is that as a coach, you are there not only about the game, but you're also there to impact the life of the people that you're working.
Thank you, Peter. I think that was your voice. I couldn't see you. Thank you. Yeah, so if I ask you as a coach, who do you want to be? Do you want to be a good coach? You know, if I ask you who's a good coach, we can name a lot of names. Probably Mourinho would be up there, and Pep Guardiola, and you know, it would be a lot of names. Alex Ferguson, and you would have come down to people that you actually know and people that have coached you. You could say a lot of names. I can look at a lot of you on the screen. I could say, well, I put your name in there because I think you are great coaches. You are good coaches. I mean, you coach teams to win games. So isn't that a good coach? Yes. So the question we want to ask is, are we okay with just being that? Are we okay with just winning games? Is that the whole focus, and is that the whole drive of this, to win games? And obviously we can't say no, because that is what we do. We will not have ability to coach football if we are not also wanting to win games, because we need to be good at the game. We need to be professional at the game. We need to have good, high standards of coaching. But surely that can't be all that we're interested in, just winning a game. And so John Wooden, who was a very famous American basketball coach, probably one of the most famous coaches ever, the most influential, he came up with this statement, and he said, well, a great coach can change a life. And if you ask me, I don't just want to be a good coach. I want to be a great coach. But here's the problem. If you leave me alone and say, Ben, go coach, guess what happens? I end up just coaching football. It's all about the tactics. It's all about the technique. It's all about the formation. Is it going to be, 5-3-1? Is it going to be 4-4-2? Am I going to play with the diamond in the middle? Am I going to utilize my wingers? You know, what does my Lukaku frontman look like? You know, or Harry Kane? You know, what am I going to do? Where's my substitutions going to come in? You know, we love that. We get so excited about that. That's one of the challenges, that if you leave us as coaches alone, we coach football. And that's what we do. And it's not bad. That is what we do. It does say ambassadors football, you know, so football is a big part of this. So one of the challenges is, how do I move towards more than that? How do I, what can I do? What can I place in my life? How can I surround myself with things that help me to not just go to the football? So for instance, me and Coach Mishak, who's on this call as well, and Coach Yaku, who's on this call as well. We just came back about 3 weeks ago from doing a coaches training in a town in South Africa called Jeffreys Bay, a very famous town for a lot of big waves and surfing and stuff like that. And so what we typically do at Trek on day one is we get the coaches coaching. And then we assess them and we evaluate them. We get them coaching on day 2 again, and then day 3 again, and day 4 again. And one of the key things that we always observe, we also observed it here, is that even the coaches that we have trained, when we ask them to do a model session, very few of them do anything more than just football. Some of them remember and understand that, oh, it's not just football. So how do I link the football skill to life? Does passing relate to serving? Does dribbling relate to being connected? Does shooting relate to taking responsibility or living with pressure? Very few of them are able to remember and to put into action how do I coach life also through my coaching of football. Some of them still do that, but the least amount of what they do are those that they not only engage in life things, but also engage in biblical things, meaning that coaching or passing relates to serving, and actually in the football session come out with at the Bible as well. For instance, with a story of Jesus saying, I didn't come to be served, but to serve. Let me model to you what it looks like to be a servant leader. I will show you, says Jesus. Look at me. I will show you how to do this. And the coach engages the players in a discussion on that. So this is not just a theoretical thing we're talking about. This is a real life challenge. If left to ourselves, we coach football. So how do we help ourselves to remember that we not just want to be good coaches, we also want to be great coaches that influence a life. And influencing a life is not just the curriculum I use, or remembering to go to a life skill, or remembering to go to a Bible story, or using like the Towards the Goal curriculum that ambassadors have now designed. And one of the next coaches fellowships, we will actually show you that. We'll introduce you to this amazing resource that some of our colleagues in ambassadors has created, and that you guys can use on the ground. Truly an amazing concept that you can use. But how do we help ourselves to remember that it's not just the external things I use? And here's the key: because who I am makes the biggest difference when I'm coaching. The person in here, the one that stands in front of the players, this is the biggest influencer. So my heart, my attitude towards women, my attitude towards the referee, my attitude towards money, my attitude towards life is a great influencer in the life of the players. And so something that we say a lot, and this is a third phrase that we're introducing, is that we say a lot is that as a coach, you may teach what you know, and we know a lot of stuff. We know the Dutch diamond, we know the Spanish rondons, we know the 4-4-2 or the 5-3-1. We know a lot. I may teach what I know, but I will reproduce who I am. So who I am matters. So let me stop here for a second and ask any questions. Okay, you're also welcome to use the chat function if you want to type something there. Okay. So where do I start? Where do I start with this? I found this picture and I thought it was amazing because it helps us to understand exactly what I think where we start. And we start with Jesus. There's no other starting point. If I want to be an influencer, if I want to play the role of a transformational coach, agent of change, it starts with Jesus. And it starts with this question: are you enjoying for yourself the Jesus you are sharing with others? So let me ask some of you to help me here. And sorry if I put you on the spot, but I have to do this. Otherwise, it's just me talking. Stephen, if I can get your words also. When you hear this phrase, enjoy the Jesus you share with others, what do you understand in this? What challenges you of this?
Yeah, I thought you might call on me. One of my first thoughts is just, what's the present value of Jesus in my life today? So, am I actually walking with him? Am I hearing his voice? I think of, I'll tell a story because this is real time. My wife and I took a walk this morning with our two boys and our dog, and during that walk, my wife was saying, "Hey, you're on your phone a lot." And my first reaction, I just want to get defensive and be like, "Well, you're on your phone," whatever the things might be. And I kind of had this moment of, again, what's the value of Jesus in my life if not for moments like this? And I got to, in some ways, enjoy his presence to say, hey, listen, slow down, listen to this. Enjoying Jesus to say, what your wife says does not define what I say about you. So Jesus gave me strength and identity and kind of foundation to actually listen and to engage with her and not shut down. And so there's a sense of enjoying his voice and his truth spoken in my life that allows me to grow as a person, to continue to grow more and more like him, to allow other people to speak into my life. So for me, it was kind of a before coming on a coach's fellowship where I get to talk about this, I get to share about what does it mean to be a transformational coach. I got to kind of practice this morning of, hey, am I willing to be transformed, and am I inviting Jesus's voice in that? Today it was kind of through my wife this morning. So that's a bit the enjoying the growth, his process of changing me from where I was to where he wants me to be, and to take delight in that process and to not fear that process. So that's maybe more than you wanted to hear, but that's what comes to mind to me this morning.
Thank you.
With this.
Thank you. You will see that we really try to be real. We really try to be authentic. We really try to share, not to just talk about stuff, but to also share stories from ourselves. The moment you started speaking, it reminded me that this morning, as my wife was leaving for work, she looked at me, she called me over, she looked at me. I had a very tough day yesterday with some family stuff and just a difficult day. And she called me over to the car and she asked me, Ben, where's your joy? And I had to say, I don't feel a lot of joy right now. But thank you for the reminder that my joy is not supposed to come because good stuff happened with me. My joy is supposed to come from something on the inside. And I thank you for telling me that you can't see that. I'll go and find my joy. I'll go and remind myself of where my joy is. And obviously the answer is my joy is with Jesus, and because he needs to be enough for me, that if everything else falls away, I can still have joy because he is enough. He is the price. He is the treasure of great worth. He is the pearl of great price. If I have him, I have enough, and not just as something to say, but as something to live. So yes, so if I am to be a transformational coach, and if I am to be, then I have to be transforming, because as we started with, we said transforming people transform people. Changing people change people. So I need to be changing, and I need to be transforming, and that will automatically transform and change also the ones around me, because that's how it works. And so what is the first thing that we want to highlight this morning of what is important to check on my own life as a coach now? We're not talking about, anything else than a coach. And maybe you didn't realize that this also relates to coaching. So as a coach, two things we want to challenge ourselves with what do I put in my life to help me to change? The first thing, am I allowing Jesus on a daily basis to change what is inside of here? Am I enjoying the Jesus? Am I participating in Jesus? Am I almost like you can talk about some good food, or you can eat the good food. Am I talking about the good food to my players, and the good food being Jesus? Or am I eating the good food myself and enjoying it and saying, sure, this is good. And that's how they know it's good, because I am enjoying it. Now, I can, for those of you that haven't been in Kenya, I can talk to you about Kenyan chai, the tea that they drink, that they live on, and that we drink at the training. But unless you've stood on the fields of Kenya and drank Kenyan chai, you have no idea what I'm talking about. That's just how it is. So I can talk about it being nice. I can talk about Jesus, or I can enjoy him for myself, because he's not a bunch of rules and laws and do's and don'ts. He's a real person that I have a real relationship with. Am I enjoying that? Am I having that? And so the question is, who is Jesus for you? Maybe we will answer and say, well, he's my savior. And when we thought about today, we thought, we really don't want to make assumptions. We really want to ask the tough questions when we are together as coaches. Say, okay, is he your savior? Is he the one that you have given the control of your life over to? And when we think of Jesus as savior, we think of one day. We think of going to heaven. We think of that ticket to heaven. Okay, I got my ticket, Coach Ben. I'm okay. I'm sorted. I can relax now. My eternal destiny is sorted. I got my ticket to heaven. And that's how a lot of us think. But Jesus is not just savior. Well, what do you mean? Well, Jesus is also Lord. Meaning that Jesus is not just something that I use or have or want for one day, for when I die, for my eternal salvation. Jesus is also somebody who rules now, who is in control now, who's sitting on the throne now, who's the boss of my life now. And so there's always these two things. Jesus is my Savior, but Jesus is also my Lord. And am I submitting to him? Am I allowing him to be that for me? My Savior, my eternal hope, but also my Lord, also my hope for today, also my teacher for today, also my help for today, also my friend for today, also the one that walks with me today. Because we can very easily think of Jesus as just something there far away. It has no say about today. There's no say about the clothes that I wear, the house that I live, the things that I do, the kind of football I play. No, actually, he has a say in that. And part of this, who is Jesus for you, is also understanding that a lot of us, when I ask you, can you picture for me the face of God? If God looks at you right now, what do you think is on the face of God towards you? And I've tasted this with some people, asking them these questions. And the answer that I get is an angry God picture. I see someone that's frowning, Ben. When I think about God, I see someone looking down at me and frowning. Or Ben, when I think of the picture of God's face, I see someone pointing a finger at me saying, hey, you. Or when I think of the picture of God, I think of someone that's upset with me, someone that's disappointed with me, someone that's angry with me. Again, Ben, again, have you done this again? Come on, man, wake up. Almost that kind of language or that kind of picture. That's the picture that we have, unfortunately, a lot of us. The picture that we have of God. But my friends, the good news is that the goal of the Christian life is loving union with God. So now we can put our coaching practice into place, because when we dribble, when we teach the children to dribble, we tell them, here's the ball and here's you. So little Bongani or little Ben or little one there on the ground, I need you to stay close to the ball. Don't let the ball get away from you, because then you're not in control anymore. You and the ball must be connected. Connected. Take your finger, you and the ball must be connected. Now, the goal of Christian life is for me and God to be connected, for me and Jesus to be connected. Or we can put it like this. The goal of the Christian life is loving union with God, to allow God and his will to have full access to every area of my life. Also my financial life, also my sexual life, also my marriage life, also my football life, also my, add whatever you want to. And we have to change the picture of God, the picture that we have in our mind of God. Have a look at this. If you can watch on the screen, have a look at this. This is the picture of Jesus in the film of Matthew, the film that was made of the life of the Gospel of Matthew. And this is in Matthew 14, I think, verse 31. That's what you see at the bottom there. And this is the picture of Jesus, the moment after Peter saw Jesus walking on the water, and he said, Lord, I want to come to you. And Jesus said, come, walk to me. And Peter walked, and then for a couple of steps he walked, and then he looked around, he got afraid, and he fell in the water. And this is the picture of the actor that played the role of Jesus, picking Peter up out of the water and not saying, hey, Peter, wrong. Or not saying, hey, Peter, stupid, what did you do? Why didn't you trust me? This is the picture of God's face. Peter, I have you. It's amazing to think of Jesus looking at me and you with such a face. And to think of, can we, as an influencer, as a transformational coach, look at our players with a face like this? A face of, I'll give you another chance. A face of, you're not just here because I want to get something out of you. A face of, I really love you, not because you can do something for me, not because of a transaction, but because I am loved by God in an unconditional way. I can start learning how do I love other people in the same way. So we said two things that we want to drop today with you. The one is, how do I move towards this, becoming this, opening my life up for this transformation? Because I need to understand that if I'm going to play a role of transforming others, I need to be transforming. First one is, am I enjoying the Jesus that I'm selling to others? Am I in a process of growing into more loving union with God, with Jesus every day? Is he not just my Savior, but my Lord? Do I open my life to him? Do I allow him to speak into my life? Very important and very powerful questions. Secondly, who are you accountable to? So not now God or Jesus, but who are you accountable to around you? Now, I can't see who we are on the call. We may not all be men on the call. There may be some lady or female coaches as well. If they are, welcome, ladies. We really love you and we welcome you here. But why I ask about the men is that this is a typical issue for us as men. We don't like other people telling us what to do. I'm the man. I'm the boss. I'm in control. I'll do what I want to do. No one is going to tell me what to do. And this is a big problem because God doesn't work like this. Jesus, as the one that is second in charge of the universe, the one sitting on the throne, God's own son, says, I cannot do what I want to do. I only do what the Father tells me to do. That is his words in the Gospels. I can only do what the Father tells me to do. And I will only do what the Father tells me to do. I will not do my own thing. I am accountable to my Father. So, very practical. Who are we accountable to? Who are you accountable to? Or let me use other words. Who do you give permission to ask you tough questions? You got some money, you're going to the mall or to the shops, you want to buy yourself something nice. Who do you give permission to speak into your buying decisions? Why are you buying that thing, Ben, and not that thing? Why are you buying the thing that will cost more money while there's another thing available? Who am I allowing in to my own sexuality? Who am I allowing to ask me tough questions on what am I watching on the screens that I'm watching? When was the last time that I looked at pornography? Not are you looking at it? When was the last time? How are you dealing with this? What is the relationship with your girlfriend looks like? Well, what does the relationship with your wife look like? What does the relationship with your husband or your boyfriend look like if you're a female coach? Who are you giving permission to speak into those things? Because how can I be someone that says I will be transforming, but I will make my own choices? No one will tell me what to do. I will decide for myself what is right, what is good, where I will work, what I will wear, what car I will drive, what cell phone I will have, all the typical things. I'm not saying it's wrong to have things. I'm saying, are you the only one that makes those decisions, or are you allowing other people into your life? And so this is one of the things that we do in the training, and we just did it in Jeffreys Bay again, and we will do it the first week of November again when we have our next trek in Cape Town, and Stephen will do the same in the trek in Nairobi. We will show you this picture, table of support. And we will ask you, these chairs, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 chairs on this table. Can you write names of the people that's sitting at your table of your life? Can you write names down there? So who's your inner circle? So in the next slides, I have an explanation of what those roles are. And so you will be able to see this if you look back at the recording. You'll be able to see this. Let me just see how I can minimize this. Sorry. So here's the words. Here's the words. Here's the picture of the table. So let's get very practical. So Ben, you telling me that you want to be a transformational coach? Yes. Okay, Ben. One thing, you need to understand that for you to be transforming, you need to have a deep, loving union relationship with Jesus and all of what that means. Okay. Secondly, Ben, you've got to understand that who are you accountable to, Ben? Who have you given permission to speak into your life? Okay. So let's look at Ben's table of support. At the top, you see inner circle and inner circle. I've got 4 people like that. Their names are Andre, Gerard, Hami, and Rian. I meet with them once a week, or with 2 of them, and with 2 of them I meet once every 2 weeks. And we share anything and everything we talk through. Nothing is off the table. They can ask any question. We go as deep as we want to. We sit and cry. We tell things we've never told anybody else. If I'm in a trouble, 2 o'clock in the morning, those are the people I will phone. Okay, Ben, good. Let's go on. Validator. Who's your validator? Who's the one that will carry your baton or your mission in life? Well, I actually think Stephen, who's on this call, is somebody like that. He's not just my friend, so he could have a chair as a friend and as a co-worker, but I think Stephen in my life has a role of a validator. I don't have to spend time to tell him what's going on in my heart. He knows that, and he carries that. Okay. My mentor, well, his name is Cassie. Good. My coach, Well, I've got lots of coaches because coaching is about the small things of life. My son is one of my coaches because he coaches me with technology and with computers. My daughter is one of my coaches because she coaches me in cooking and in baking because I like making food, and so she's one of my coaches. She's much better at that than me. I've got someone that coaches me in money because I'm not always that good with, you know, with how do I use my money. Okay, Ben, your mentee, who are you mentoring, Ben? Well, I have people, and I can name a lot of names, Martus, and I can name a lot of names like that, probably 6 to 8 people that I can name like that. Okay, family. Well, my wife sits at that chair. She's a part of key family role. Trainees, who am I coaching? Well, there's a lot of names that I can give you. People that I am coaching for specific things in public speaking. I'm coaching my mother, for instance, in how to do WhatsApp calls because she's 80 years old and she struggles with that. So I'm a WhatsApp coach on a fun side. My cross-cultural friend, who's that? Well, he's also on this call. His name is Mishak, and he could have maybe even other chairs on this table as well. And who's my hero? Who's someone that inspires me? Well, some of you are sitting at that table because I think of the work that you do. I think of the life that you live, and it just inspires me. But another person that inspires me, that's my hero, is someone called Pete Squazzero. He's someone I've never met, but I read a lot of his books and I listen to a lot of the things that he shares. And he inspires me. He drives me. He changes my life because he's my hero. I look up to him in that sense. So I'm not doing this to sound fancy or to sound, oh, look how cool I am. If you asked me this question a couple of years ago, there would be no one at this table. There would be my wife, and that would be it, and not a lot of other people. So this is not to impress. This is not to brag. This is to say that and anybody who knows me can testify to this, that in the last 5 years of my life, there's been deep change, transformation that has happened. And it has happened because of Jesus. And it is not finished because I'm a broken individual and I still need a lot of healing and a lot of grace. But another reason for why there is change is because of a table of support. And when I look at people around me and I look at their lives and I ask them the tough questions, like, who are you accountable to, coach? Can I show you what I mean by that? By showing you a picture of a table, tell me who's sitting in your life. Then a lot of people have almost nobody on their chairs. And my friends, we can't do this. We are not transforming if we are not accountable to others, if we do not give people permission to speak into our lives. I did a thing that was very difficult for me. We had to buy a house because with the house that we're renting, we can't rent anymore. So we felt God saying we must buy a house. And instead of kind of making the decision on my own, I did something that was very scary for me, and that's I allowed a community of people to speak into that. And it wasn't easy because it's not, you hear things that you don't want to hear. you also hear no. And we don't always want to hear no. But a good friend, someone that sits at your table, will not just tell you yes, they will also tell you no. Ben, I don't think this is the right thing to do. Ben, why are you doing this? Ben, are you trying to impress people with this or with that? And so, my friends, this is very, very practical, and this is very, very real. And I'm going to stop here now for a moment, and I'm going to allow you guys to ask questions. So please fire away. Stephen, I can't see the chat, so if there's anything in the chat, can you just help me to not miss it, please? Anything? We're not going to go into breakout rooms to discuss. This is our breakout room now. So you're welcome to unmute and to share. You're welcome to say, Ben, I don't agree. I'm not asking you to agree. You're welcome to say, Ben, I don't agree. You're welcome to add anything. You're welcome to ask anything. Yeah, you're also welcome to say, where do you feel you are stuck? And maybe we can pray together, because we are going to pray together at the end for the last 5 minutes or so. But yeah, the floor is open. This is our breakout room. What are you hearing? What is challenging to you? What do you want to share? You're welcome to. I hope you're not all dead or asleep from having to listen to me. So please share.
For me, I don't know if I have a question, but it's just to appreciate again the teaching and this, for me to be reminded of whom I should be. There's a phrase that you say that we are not transforming if we are not accountable. I would say that's true. That's true, and very true that when we don't allow people to enter into our lives, sometimes we find ourselves in the ditch. And so as a coach, that's very important. Yeah, so thank you. I don't think I have a question, but I can ask a question. What would you advise? How do people find those friends, like the supporting team? How do you find them? How do you look for them? And what criteria do you need to have so that you might be surrounded by the people who are very useful for you, but also very who can help you journey the life of transformation. Thank you.
Thank you, Jean-Paul.
Ben, can I jump in and try to answer that? A story came to mind. Okay. Yeah. So one of my thoughts in going through this is, two things kind of come up of like, what might some reactions be? One is like, this is scary to actually let people into my life. So how do we address that? The other one is like, what if my whole table is blank, and like, where do I start? What do I do? So, Jean-Paul, I think there's a time that I think I was doing this at a trek or something, and I realized that the inner circle was pretty empty. There was a lot of people, from the States or from like internationally that I was connected to, but I didn't have local community. And I started, well, what should I do about it? Well, I started praying about it. And I told my wife about it. She's in the family or inner circle chair. And we were connected to a friend of ours. And there's this missionary family, this couple that we got to know. Karis was good friends with the wife. And I had met the husband once or twice, but we're like, that could be a person. Like kind of like criteria was, you know, I kind of knew the family. There was a similar stage of life. There was a desire to, you know, I had heard that there was a desire for friendships in his life as well. So here's my tip, and here's what I tell myself a lot. It's like, I need to learn how to be awkward. So I called this guy up and said, "Do you want to get coffee?" And it was like I was setting up a date with another man to be like a friend, and it felt so weird to make that phone call. And then as I was like preparing to go to coffee one morning, and I was walking from my house to the coffee shop, it felt uncomfortable because I'm like, what am I doing? What if this doesn't work out? It was like all like the first date things with a girl, but now I was like with a friend, a potential friendship. And I had to kind of admit in my own heart some of that awkwardness, and in some ways push through it, or be intentional enough to kind of engage in some of that uncomfortable space. So be awkward. I don't think in lots of cultures this is normal to have intentional friendships like this, where you're actually inviting someone to say, "Hey, I want your voice to mean something in our lives, or in my life." And I think that the intentionality and pushing through some of the uncomfortableness is what's helped me grow this a little bit more. One other quick story is that I just with our family, as we live cross culturally, so we don't have biological aunties and uncles in our lives. They're far away. We see them every couple of years, so they're not day-to-day life with us. But we want that voice of an auntie or an uncle in our kids' lives. So we've got this group of ladies that there's three ladies in particular, Joelle, Leanne, and Whitney, that were just really intentional, like were really important parts of our lives. And we sat down with them individually and said, "Hey, we want you to be our auntie. And this is what this means. We respect you. We value your voice. We want your voice in our daughter's life. That means a lot to us. That means a lot to her. Would you step into that?" And there was like it was like official, like we sat down, and what we've heard from them was just the honoring of their, like the honoring that was to them also made them take this more seriously, this role that we'd invited them into. So I think there's also that space of, I want to invite someone like, "Hey, I need this type of relationship. I want you to ask questions. I want to ask questions to you. Are you interested in that?" And that we're, you know, there's such like an intentionality in that I think is really helpful. So yeah, those are some thoughts that came to mind with that.
Thanks, Stephen. I think that's very good. I think what I would also say from my side is that we've got to understand that it's relationships, meaning that it starts at a point and it grows. So for instance, when I realized this some time ago, or some years ago, and I realized that I don't really have a cross-cultural friend. I have people of other cultures that I kind of work with, but it's not really a cross-cultural friend, an intentional thing. So I remember that two people's names came to my mind, people that I work with. One of them was Mishak, and one of them was Dumasani. And so what did I do is, and it was kind of awkward, I had to make that appointment, like Stephen said. And I don't know if you remember this, Mishak, but you know, that one day coming to you and it feels like awkward, and it's like, can I really ask this? I feel stupid. But then in the end asking, "Hey, I have a space of something that I need in my life. Most of the people I engage with in my life, in my reality, are white like me and Afrikaans like me. That's not good. I need another voice to speak into. Can you please, you know, be some of that?" And gracefully, Mishak and Dumasani said yes. But now, for instance, with Mishak, it is far beyond that. He's actually not that in a sense anymore. He's my brother. The word that we use is Gazlam. It's I don't know. It's very deep. It's like my life partner, my brother from another mother, the one that carries my heart, my soul with me, type of thing. But it grew over 3, 4, 5 years because there was a space at the table now. There was a more intentional journey and doing stuff together and living life together and meeting of the families and having meals together and working together and so it is totally transformed the relationship. And it doesn't always have to be serious. We are coaches. One of the best tips I can give you is to go to your players and to just be intentional to see who does something that's very good. Maybe one of the children have a cool dance move. They are children. They put on music, they start dancing. Just be intentional. Go to that child, says, wow, I saw you doing that. That's amazing. Would you mind coaching me for the next 3 weeks in how to do that? I want to give you a chair at my life table of being a coach for me. You're going to be my coach for the next month. You're going to teach me this dance move. That's the idea. It is not this heavy, formal thing. It is this, I think what Stephen said very importantly is prayer. Lord, where are you showing me? Open my eyes. What am I seeing around me? What do I need? And I think, well, I need that. Okay, who can coach me in that? Well, I need this. Okay, who can coach me in this? It's a very easy way to get started. And then the second part is you just be open that you be a coach, not just a football coach, but in something that you do well. So who can you teach for the next month or the next 3 months in a something that may be very stupid? It may sound very stupid, but it's the idea of I'm allowing other people into my life and I'm entering other people's life in a specific way. But if you're thinking about mentoring and of these inner circle friends, it didn't happen overnight. It was strangers meeting because of work, and then a click happening, a connection happening, and saying, okay, and now we're meeting once a week for the last, I don't know, 6 years, 5 years, 6 years. So you can imagine the depth that it's gone to. Didn't start there, but it's now there. And so please remember that it's a journey. It's a journey. My wife's chair has also totally changed because this may sound very strange, but I have allowed her much deeper into my life than just, you're my wife, I'm going to not share these things with you because I don't want to upset you, or I want to protect you, or no, I'm allowing her much deeper into my heart, into my life. So very practical and incredibly necessary. I was blown away 3 weeks ago when we did the trek in J-Bay by showing this picture and seeing the young boys from rural Eastern Cape paying attention suddenly and saying, I don't have this. I don't have these people speaking into my life. Okay, so what's the next steps then? How do I move towards getting them there? And it's one at a time. It's one at a time. Also, just I want to say, if you put someone's name at for instance being your mentor or being your mentee or being your coach or being your trainee, they've got to know that as well. It can't be just, well, I see him or her as my mentor. No, that person needs to know it as well. And we need to make an agreement, meaning we need to come together and to say, I give you permission Meshach, I give you permission to speak into my life, where you see me, you know, and when you speak, I've got to listen now because I've given you permission. I can't say, no, I don't want to hear what you're saying. I've given you a chair. Your voice matters. So I think those are important things. Again, let's remember why are we doing this? Why are we talking about this? This is the work before the work. Meaning, if we want to enter with a ball, a field in Africa, and we want to say that we want to be influencers, we cannot be influencers if we are not being influenced. And two things we want to be influenced with. One is Jesus, loving union, opening my life more and more, deeper and deeper, connected, openness, allowing Jesus deeper and deeper into my reality, my life. Those things I don't tell anybody. I don't even want to tell him that. Allow him deeper and deeper. Secondly, if I want to stand on the field and be an influencer, then I've got to have a table of support. It's not an option. I have to have it. Okay, it's maybe not full. Okay, so let me start working towards that. But it's not an option. I have to be accountable. There has to be people that know what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, and has the authority to step into my life and say, Ben, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Good. Let's end with this. In the text, in the chat function, and this is not, to give me good feedback or whatever. The point is not feedback. The point is for your reflection. As I give you a moment to just think, here's my question. What have you heard from God this morning? What is the one thing that you heard? And secondly, what are you going to do about that? Not sometime. What are you going to do about that in the next hour or in the next day? So please type if you want to. It would be great if you can type. What's the one thing that you heard God saying to you this morning? It doesn't have to be a fancy thing. One thing. And what's your step of obedience? What are you going to do about it? Guys, I want to close off with something that's probably the most important thing I want to say today. Not as a new thing, but just as a realization. And that is, whose work is the work of transformation? It's not mine. I don't change anybody. It's not yours. You don't change anybody. The work of transformation is the work of God the Father. He is the one that changes me, changes you. My work and your work is to do the work before the work, which is to put myself in the position where Jesus can enter my life and change, and to put myself in a position where those around me can support and can speak into my life to allow me to change. That's the work before the work. But the transformation is all up to God. And what an amazing privilege to stand back and to see him work and to see him change lives and change situations and change realities. And this is my prayer for you. May you open your heart, that Jesus come and change. May you open your life, that those around you may speak into your life. And may you stand back and be astonished that by doing the work before the work, God does an amazing work of transformation in you, your family, your community, your team, your neighborhood. Thank you, my friends. What a privilege to be together like this. In a month's time, we'll be together again. Please be on the lookout for the flyers. This is open for anybody in Africa, not just ambassadors people. So you're welcome to invite whoever you want into this that has a heart for coaching and a love for coaching. And it won't always be me speaking or Stephen speaking. It would be a variety of people speaking because we want to bring the voice of Africa to Africa. So thank you and God bless. Thank you, everybody.